Okay, I'm sure we all know about the relationship between Max and Roxanne, probably one of the most iconic and cutest couples in all of cartoon and movie history. And she also turns out to be a lot of people's first crushes. I personally can't relate to that. I mean to real women, like Sally from Cars. And with the release of the amazing and incredibly underrated Goofy movie, people were introduced and instantly fell in love with her. But when it came around for the sequel, an extremely goofy movie to be made, a lot of viewers were kind of confused to realize that she was nowhere to be seen. Pretty much every other character referenced in the first movie was somewhere, or at least somewhat hinted at. But for some reason, one of the most key and important characters of the whole plot of the first movie is nowhere to be seen. And a lot of people are confused over whether or not they broke up or whether or not they took a break. Maybe it didn't work out, maybe they're still together, maybe they just went to different colleges, but that wouldn't really make sense because, you know, throughout the movie you see Max interact with other women and clearly there's no one else waiting for him at home. These are questions I've seen asked so many times all over the history. You can look it up right now and you'll find forums about it. And weirdly enough, I've not really noticed anyone talking about a very interesting piece of this puzzle. Let me give you some background. See, when I was a kid, I had a really big cassette collection. And that might confuse some of you. A lot of you probably have never even heard of that because you're 12-year-olds. But I'm not even that much older. I'm 21. Okay, yeah. But yeah, I know I'm ancient when it comes to internet standards, but when you're living in the real world, that's not really that crazy. But yeah, for whatever reason, I had this huge collection of cassettes. There were so many different Disney movies, and there were also a bunch of Barbie movies. You're not gonna shame me for that. They were pretty fire. So yeah, I was a big fan, had a lot of things, and there was a specific DVD that kind of stood out from the rest. It was a Christmas special for this show that I'd never heard of because it wasn't on TV really when I was a kid, called House of Mouse. The show was created in 2001, it ran till 2003 and had 3 seasons, and so clearly it was quite popular, but for some reason it's not on Disney Plus. Anyway, the show centered around, you know, the typical characters that you would expect: Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy. Namely the first 2, they ran this bar called the House of Mouse. It wasn't really a bar, I guess it was more of like a diner sort of thing, but essentially the gist of it is they'd come out, they'd show cartoons, they'd host. It was kind of like a comedy sort of thing. You'd see a lot of different characters from different Disney shows. You'd see people like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, you'd see Sebastian, you'd see the 3 Caballeros, the Quack Street Boys. Come on guys, the Quack Street Boys. You know, I'm not even gonna accuse you of not knowing who the Quack Street Boys are.
Street Boys. Tell me why with rage. Tell me why.
But yeah, they had a lot of different types of special episodes. Obviously Christmas episodes, they had Halloween episodes, they had like special like character-centered episodes, and the episode we're going to talk about today kind of fits into one of those. The episode was called Max's Embarrassing Date. It was in season 1, episode 20. By the way, I hope you were paying attention because I lied to you earlier. There's actually 4 seasons instead of 3. This episode is a Valentine's special. All of the characters are out on dates, there's romance in the air. You can see Cruella de Vil with Beast, and at first I thought, oh, that's a weird pairing, but clearly it means that either she's only dating him to eventually kill him and take his hide, or she's just kind of attracted to fur, which kind of makes the interactions with the Dalmatians a tiny bit strange. But our beloved Max is taking center stage in this episode. He's invited Roxanne over, and this is clearly some point after the first movie because they're significantly older now. I'm not exactly sure if this is right before college or right after, but I'm gonna say it's after, considering the fact he's working a job. But you could always just say that, actually no, I was gonna say that you could say that he's just working a summer job, but throughout the show you see him there at all points throughout the year, so I'm assuming he's already graduated at this point and they're still together, so that answers the question for us. They were still together, he's just a cheater, and yeah, she doesn't know. Wow, that's kind of a downer. Anyways, ignoring our best boy's infidelity, let's just keep on going with the story. So essentially Max is worried that his dad is going to cause a scene. He's worried his dad's gonna make too much of a spectacle out of it and ruin his chances with this girl that he likes, who he's been with for years. I don't know why they're acting like it's their first date. Maybe they didn't actually end up getting together until they were a lot older. I don't know. You know what? There's so many questions and I just don't have the answers to them. But yeah, Max is terrified that his dad's gonna ruin things for him, and so he goes to his uncles and aunties, Donald and Mickey and everyone else involved, and he asks them, you know, can you help me out? And they're like, yeah, sure, of course, yeah, we're gonna help you. And they proceed for the next 20 minutes to sabotage this man in every way possible. They just make him look all kinds of lame. And you know, I thought that Donald and Daisy and Minnie were bad, they were overbearing. But Mickey is like, he had to be doing this on purpose. So essentially, Mickey announces a cartoon, you know, to get everything into the Valentine scene. He brings up, well, not him, but they all bring up Max and Roxanne to the front in front of everyone. They shout him out. It's pretty awkward. But essentially, in the cartoon that they show, Mickey abandons Pluto, who is a sentient dog as well. And we're not even gonna get into like the whole potential slavery point, because we know the dogs are sentient in this universe, because, you know, Goofy exists, Max exists, they're both dogs. But for some reason, Pluto is a subspecies or sub race or something. He's I don't know. But yeah, Mickey abandons him to go hang out with Minnie, and so Pluto's all by himself. So essentially he's out and about, and eventually he spots and meets up with this dog that he thinks is a baddie. He chases her down, and it turns out she's from money. She's super rich. He tries to get her. There's a dog that's simping. He's not really important. Eventually he does make it past. He gets to her, and this is everything he's wanted. He finally has the girl of his dreams. But you know what kind of a guy he is? He realizes that he doesn't want to leave Mickey alone. Despite Mickey just abandoning him, he wouldn't do that to his boy. He thinks about when Mickey's old and Pluto hasn't returned and him being depressed. He's like, no, I'm gonna go back to him, and he does that. And she didn't like that. Yeah, you can kind of see that the show was made in 2001. Even though like these are like cartoon dogs, it's still kind of weird because consent isn't really factoring in here. It's super strange. But essentially he's able to escape. He finally gets back to Mickey. All things that end well, but Mickey's still Snake. Also a quick point here, I'm still not exactly sure if the cartoons are meant to be them like acting, or if it is like actual memories. I don't know. Like, there's no logic in it. Yeah, and then Mickey just goes on like he goes on like a speed run of just trying his best to ruin Max's life. He's just embarrassing him left, right, and center. He shows everyone like a baby picture. Like, why would you do, like, he's such an art. And then they start playing Kiss the Girl, and Mickey's just lame as hell, bro. And Daisy just steals this episode. She is so funny the whole time, especially that little marching band bit. Mickey's not funny at all. If we see him, it's on sight. But yeah, then essentially Goofy sees them messing everything up. He comes, he saves the day.
Yeah, leave these kids alone. Don't you know? They're on a date.
Dad.
Well, now, son, I'm helping you. And furthermore, who needs all these old guys around messing up their fun?
And he shows that he really cares, and he connects with Roxanne and Ben. It's honestly just really cute. So yeah, no, great episode. And if for some reason you were curious where Roxanne is, she's there, and all we know throughout that continuity, they probably got happily married. So there's your happy ending. Okay, yeah, bye.